Okay, so regarding the issue with skill and stat progress values sometimes not properly resetting in this game, I did some investigating and searched for values in the game's memory related to that, and I overlaid some interesting values on this video here, which update live as I'm playing this game and in about a 1 second interval. So first of all, the values on the right are some of the skills and stats that this game provides. So for example, if I'm eating or drinking something, the fat can increase, or if I get on this bike, then the sex appeal value can be affected, and if I shoot something that actually takes damage, like this bike, then the weapon skill on the very bottom will be increased per shot. At least if I hit something that can take damage, so if I just shoot the ground or something, then it doesn't do anything. And if I do some actions like training in the gym, then the muscle and fat and stamina, depending on what I'm doing, can be affected. And all these things change the skill and stats values directly. So even if you don't immediately notice that it's changed, it's still immediately changed. These notifications that come up or the stuff in the menus doesn't necessarily immediately update, but only at certain skill or stats levels. So that's basically one way the game has of doing this. So in addition to that, another way the game has to change skill values is some sort of XP points system, which you see on the left here. So these points are kind of hidden to the player because they aren't really like in any menu or something, but they can be increased by performing certain actions that are related to the skill. So for example, I'm driving around my bike here and the cycling skill on the bottom left increases. If I'm going really slowly, it actually doesn't increase at all, even if I'm still moving, so that kind of depends on speed. If I'm going faster, it increases more, and it also seems to depend on bunny hopping. Another example is the max health, which also increases while driving around on the bike, at least as long as I hold W. So basically, as long as I'm accelerating or if I'm on foot when I'm walking around and stuff. So the max health XP points always increase by 1 per second, as long as CJ is actually doing something basically. And once one of these XP point values has reached a certain amount, for max health that's 600 points, so if you've been walking around for 10 minutes, then the max health increases, like the value on the right, the actual stat value, and the XP points get reset to 0. And for cycling, it's 120 XP points. So any second now, the cycling skill will increase and the XP points will be reset back to 0. And of course, start increasing again because I'm still driving around. So the important difference between the values on the left and the values on the right is that the values on the right, so the actual skill and stat points, are stored when you save the game and restored accordingly when you load that save, and set to default value when you start a new game from the menu. So that's basically as you would expect. However, the skill and stat XP points on the left, some of these values get reset to 0 when you start a new game or when you load a save. So if you've been driving around for a while and almost have a driving skill upgrade and then save and load, your driving skill will be restored, but the progress up to the next upgrade of driving skill will be lost. However, some values, like for example cycling XP, isn't set to 0, it just stays exactly the same in the memory and isn't touched by the game when you load the save or start a new game through the menu. So to demonstrate this, I kept cycling a bit here to put the cycling XP up a bit more, and now I'm going to start a new game through the menu without actually restarting the whole game. and the cycling skill, or the cycling XP rather, stays the same as before. So it basically carries over, and now if I'm going to drive around a bit, then it will, after a few seconds, the cycling skill will already increase, even though I only just started a new game. And that's of course something that shouldn't really be happening. For speedruns that's problematic because you've actually kind of done stuff before you started your run and your timer. So that's kind of like a new game plus. Another thing that is affected by this is lung capacity. So if I swim around underwater here a bit, you see that the lung capacity XP on the top left there went up, and if I start a new game it's still the same. So I will get my first lung capacity upgrade a lot quicker. For lung capacity that's actually kind of good in the case of loading a save, at least for RTA runs, because for example if you save in Sandvera when you're still getting lung capacity and then reload that save, you don't lose any progress, and you've done your progress, or you achieved your progress in the same run when the same timer was running. So in that case it's fine, but of course if you start a new game you want everything reset to 0, so you don't have a new game plus basically. So just to demonstrate it, I'm going to simply set all the XP points to like some value, increase them all a bit, and then start a new game again, so we can see which ones reset. Also we've seen almost all of them already, but still. So yeah, so it seems like not all skills are actually affected by that, but it doesn't really matter, because even if it's just a small change, like from getting a max health upgrade a bit earlier or something like that, it can still affect the run. And in addition to that, there might also be other things that don't get reset properly when you start a new game through the menu without actually restarting the game. So it's probably prudent to restart the game when you reset, at least if you already played for a bit. So yeah, let's do some swimming, and then as you can see all of the XP points have increased to some value, and all except lung capacity, max health and cycling skill are reset to 0 when I start a new game. Yeah, as I said, there might be other stuff, other values that work differently, so I think it's still prudent to just restart the game when you reset. So yeah, I hope this video was interesting, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.